What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, the goal is to remove the J series from the MR2. Now, I do have some unfortunate news for you guys if you're a big fan of the J series, and that is this is probably the last time that this car will ever have a J series in it. Whenever I start a big project, I always start with what's the end goal, then I make a plan on how to get there. And I did that assuming that I would keep this powertrain. After adding everything up in terms of time, but also money, I realized that it would just be more cost effective to go with a different setup. And that's why I decided that I'm just gonna pull it out, sell this powertrain, and I'll go with something else. My plan's actually to go with the 2GR turbo build. The plan with this project is to take a phased approach. So essentially phase 1 is gonna be getting the car running naturally aspirated with the 2GR. Phase 2 would then be turboing the engine. Anyways, though, there is one thing that I am missing to do this swap, and that is a turbo transmission. So if anyone has a E153, please reach out to me. I would love to buy it. Actually, if I'm not able to get my hands on one, I did also think about just keeping my eyes out there for like a wrecked turbo car that I could purchase, rip the transmission out of it, and then part out the rest. So I guess if anyone has like a wrecked turbo car that they're willing to let go as well, and you're in the Pacific Northwest, let me know, because I'd be interested in buying that as well. So yeah, with that, let's get started on this. The car's already up on the, well, ramps and jack, which I think this should be sufficient to get the engine out of the car. The one thing I will be doing is removing the supercharger, because obviously that adds quite a bit of height. I think with the supercharger removed, I'll easily be able to drop it and then yank it out with how the car is lifted right now. A couple of days ago, I already went through the process of removing the coolant from the car. I also drained out the oil from the engine and the transmission. So that means at this point, it's pretty much remove supercharger, intake, remove the wiring harness, and then there's just a couple miscellaneous lines like coolant line right there. There is a fuel line I have to remove, and then at that point it's just axle subframe and she comes out. So I think the engine should realistically be out in just like maybe 2-3 hours. We're going to start by taking off the intake, which should be pretty straightforward. And she's off. All right, we'll remove the throttle cable, hopefully. There you go. That's undone. Now at this point, to remove the supercharger, I think all I gotta do is, there's that clip right there, and then it looks like undo the serpentine belt on that side, undo the 12mm bolts, and she comes out. This car has just a automatic, or I guess automatic, I don't know the best way to say it, tensioner. Just gotta push it back, and that should give us enough time, or enough space to remove that serpentine belt. So that is off and out, almost. That's out. Now we can remove the supercharger. This is actually kind of bittersweet for me, which is why I'm not doing a time lapse in this point, because the supercharger line for me is what defined this car, and it just made it such an awesome experience to drive. So like I said, it's bittersweet because just the memories, the fun I've had with it, but I'm excited for the next chapter. There's been a lot of growth with this car because this was my very first modified car, and so, or highly modified car, because I'd done like coilovers and things like that before, but I'd never had anything like this. So it was a huge learning curve. I've learned a lot, and I'm pretty excited for what comes next. I already went through, hand loosened all these, so they should just come on out. Oh, maybe not. Oh, there you go. Should just come on off. Wow, this is surprisingly heavy. Wow. I know you guys can't smell this on camera, but one of the things that's sticking out to me is like how much it smells like fuel in here. When I drained the oil out, it had a super heavy fuel smell as well. The reason it could have that is because, you know, over the last few months, I've pretty much only turned the car on just so I can move it around. It could also indicate maybe an issue with the injectors or something like that. I mean, the cars always ran rich because the tune was just god awful. I already went through, loosened all these up. I did that because a couple of them were like semi-stripped, so wanted to be better safe than sorry. I'm also pulling this plate because I don't want this opening there, and I do have like an OEM intake cover, so I'm gonna put that on just to make sure nothing gets in there. Whoever ends up buying this engine, I'm gonna recommend to them that they like go through it, because that was my plan. But I still wanna make sure nothing gets in there, possibly causes any damage or anything like that. Oh, look at how red everything is in there. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but the intake's red, or like the manifold's red. The top of the pipe is red. Even the intake piping, which I didn't show you guys, all of it's red, and that's because the methanol injection that I was using. I'm gonna put the cover back on here in a second, and then at this point, it's literally just disconnecting like the fuel line, this coolant hose, these hoses up there, just really basic stuff. Before I do that though, and throw you guys on a time lapse, I have to show you guys this. That is the little cotter pin that could. Back when I got this car back in 2019, that cotter pin was there, and I just never replaced it. And really kind of the joke behind it is that anytime someone would see this car in person, it was very common where they'd be like, hey, you should probably replace that cotter pin because that's a little sketchy. The thing is though, it lasted from 2019 until now when I'm removing this powertrain from the car. I refer to it as the little cotter pin that could, because it surprisingly never fell out, never failed me, and never left me stranded. It actually kind of ties in with this. So we're on the passenger side visor. One of the things that was in the car when I got it was this little button with a poop emoji, and I think it perfectly exemplifies honestly the condition of the car. Although I do want to note, this is going to stay with the car for as long as I own it, so that is not going anywhere. We have made a good amount of progress, actually. Everything's disconnected from the engine. One thing you'll note is that I actually just cut the engine harness. The engine harness in this car is just like super janky. I'm surprised it didn't cause a fire. Anyways, I couldn't in just good consciousness sell this engine harness to anyone, so I just cut it and I will end up tossing this. Other than that, all that's left to do is remove the subframe, axles, and then this thing is ready to drop. This is gonna be pretty straightforward. I'll just undo the tow arm, control arm, drop the subframe as a whole. These 3 bolts are actually for the rear transmission mount, which has definitely seen better days. Once that's out, I'll just be able to easily take the axles out and we'll be good to go. I also preemptively loosened this already, so the CV axle, or the bolt for the CV axle, isn't stuck on there, because that can be a pain sometimes. Not out of the car yet, but it's no longer connected. You can see it sitting down there on the dolly. The only issue I'm running into is that it doesn't have enough room to come on out. I already went through the process of lowering the front jack stands, or taking them off the ramps and then putting them on the jack stand to put it at more of an angle. What I've decided I'm gonna do is actually just remove the manifold, because if you look at this, it's like inches away from clearing. So I'll remove the manifold, and then I should be able just to slide it out the side from there, and I'll have to remove this. I am out of time right now to finish working on the car, so the plan is whenever I have, like, I don't know, another hour, I'm gonna come out here to the shop and do what I said about, you know, removing the manifold and then just pulling the engine on out. So we'll pick this up then. It's actually the same day, just a few hours later. I have like 30 minutes of time to spare right now, so I'm trying to actually get the engine pulled, and then tomorrow morning I gotta clean all this stuff up. The reason I'm making this such a priority right now is that it is gonna be raining and I just don't want those other cars sitting outside. So came out here and did a little bit of work off camera real quick. I removed the coilover, the whole hub assembly, it's right there. The brakes are just off to the side. And then on the engine, I actually removed the intake manifold, which was super easy to take off. Sitting right here, after taking the cover off, there was just these bolts that I had to take off, and then it just popped right out. So where we're at right now is the engine should actually just come out. This is the highest point. I could remove this if it becomes an issue, but should be able just to slide it on out. Just gotta move it just a little bit more, being careful not to hit anything, because this is a bit of a mess right now. The engine is officially out of the car, and this is honestly bittersweet, because in the 6 years I've owned this MR2, it's always been J series, and I really wanted to keep it J series or maintain it as a J series car just because of the history of it. But honestly, it's time to move on to the next stage of this car's life. If anyone is interested in like any of this stuff, so like my plan is to sell the powertrain hopefully as a unit. The transmission worked, it didn't pop out of gear or anything like that. The only two things to note is that the LSD towards, you know, these last couple of years wasn't locking up. It was one wheeling peeling. So the other thing is this, because this is obviously, you know, a mid-engine rear-wheel drive setup versus what it was meant for, front engine, front-wheel drive setup. This is a shifter bracket that was, well, made and modified for this application. So if you're looking to use it for, like, let's just say its intended purpose in a front-wheel drive car, you'll have to source a bracket. So that is something to consider. And then on the engine side, this car actually ran and drove. It didn't have any issues. Had I kept it J series, really my only plan with it was just to reseal the engine because, I mean, look at this, the valve cover was leaking. If we come over here, the oil pan was leaking as well. I did pick up some other parts that I was gonna use for this swap. My buddy sold me a set of P2R J series swap headers. He sold them to me for $240. So if someone wants them, that's what I'd sell them for, just to kind of get my money out of it. They are these headers over here, or I guess technically it's header, and then it has a Y pipe right there. I'm also gonna sell the ECU that I was using in this car. This is the ECU that I was running in the car. And so if anyone's interested in this, I'd be happy to sell it to you. Also, I'll be selling the supercharger with the adapter kit and this undersized pulley. My plan is just to sell this as one unit. I do have to take off, hey Rain, I do have to take off a couple little plates from the engine. I think, oh, there's one of them right there. And then obviously the one for the throttle body. And then this one has to do something with the cooling system, but I'll remove those as well. The rest of the stuff on this car should for the most part be reused. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got for this video. I gotta hurry up and get to cleaning so I can pull the cars in before it starts pouring down rain out there. If you have any like questions, comments on anything, you know, as always, leave it down in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer them. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.